Hi, Hiroki. My name is Ellen, and I will be correcting this essay for you today. Let's take a look at what you've written here in the set. The topic is fewer people are going to farming. Why is this happening? What can be done? Okay, great. So it's causes and solutions. In the past few decades, there has been a profound increase in the number of youngsters avoiding choosing farming as their career. One of the main reasons for this worrying trend is due to its being financially less appealing to them and urbanization. Okay, well, check it out. So you said one of the main reasons, but then you end up giving us two. So it's less financially appealing. That's one reason. And then urbanization is the other trend. So this leads to some awkwardness, right? So you could say two of the main reasons for this worrying trend uh, are it's being financially less appealing to them and urbanization. That makes sense. Or you could have said main reasons for this worrying trend include it's being financially less appealing to them and urbanization. That's good too. If you don't like this idea of two of the main reasons, okay, you could just say main reasons for this worrying trend include, and that's a nice way of doing it. Okay. However, there are solutions readily available to tackle this problematic issue, such as improving education, get rid of the, and governmental financial aid. Again, get rid of the. You don't need them here. Okay, so far so good. Let's continue. To begin, there is an argument to be made that the primary reason behind this trend is that most countries have become urbanized. To illustrate this point, forests have been cut in many parts of the world to make way for shopping malls or skyscrapers, which has led to fewer opportunities for students to be involved in farming. For this reason, it is clearly evident that if urbanization is accelerated, farming is unlikely to be chosen as a future career by the young, as chances to be familiar with farming decrease. Moreover, countless young people insist that careful. Countless young people insist that they will have difficulty earning a large amount of money. When? In agriculture, okay? Specify. To exemplify, according to recent data, the annual income of farmers is far less than that of people who work for technology, not for a technology related job, but in technology related jobs. Okay? This being the case, it is not unreasonable to assume that the young are unwilling to work as a farmer, as it cannot lead a luxurious life. Okay, I'm happy with this. I mean, some minor grammatical things, nothing really problematic. So let's continue to see what you wrote in the next paragraph. In order to resolve this problematic issue, careful. I saw this expression before. Problematic issue. That's the kind of thing you want to be careful with. There it is. Problematic issue. I knew it. So yeah, be careful. There are certain collocations that kind of just stick out. So particularly with collocations, you want to make sure you don't use them repeatedly. Okay, so let's see. One viable solution would be for education to be improved. Again, education general. When you say the education, it's as if the reader knows which education you're talking about. So, the education in Japan, the education of 9-year-olds, okay? Or maybe you've mentioned it before. Education today is very problematic. The reason for this is that the education received now is whatever, less than what we got when we were kids. I don't know. I think you understand what I'm saying. Okay. For instance, students should be given more opportunities to learn the importance of farming in terms of history and sustaining people's lives, stimulating their interest in it. What does that mean? Okay, for instance, students should be given more opportunities to learn history, okay, stimulating their interest in it. Therefore, it is undeniable that if more chances to be familiar with farming are secured, farming can be one of their career options. Okay, I think rather than this sentence, I would have preferred maybe a little more development of this particular idea. Okay, so let's say, for example, I learn about the history of farming. Maybe I learn about how the first tractor was built and how it kind of came about. Give me an example of why that might stimulate my interest. Why, do you understand what I mean? So I felt like you had an interesting statement here. You should have just gone maybe a step further. Okay. what is more, governments, again, it's not the governments, because it's as if you're assuming I know which governments you're talking about. Okay, like the governments in Europe, for example. All right, but you mean governments in a general sense, so you don't need the. So, what is more, governments should give financial support. Again, no financial support. It's a general thing. It doesn't need an A, such as subsidies to farming industries to make it possible for them to pay a high salary to workers, as only in this way can more young people consider farming as financially attractive. Great grammar here, love it. With this in mind, there is no doubt that if society, again, know the society in a general sense, that if society helps farming become a more fascinating occupation, the number of students who are eager, careful with your grammar. Let's try it again. I didn't really love this fascinating here, but whatever, I'll accept it. It's not really since we were talking about collocations, we don't really say this fascinating. Oh, you have a fascinating occupation. Not really. We could say interesting, appealing, attractive. Any one of those words would be good. Fascinating is a little bit of overkill. So now this is an if statement. So you have to make sure that your tenses are correct. So if society helps farming to become a more appealing occupation, the number of students who are eager to, okay, yeah, it's actually all right. The number of students who work the land can increase. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Reading it again, it made sense. To conclude from the aforementioned discussion, the overwhelming evidence seems to suggest, I don't know about that. How about this? The evidence seems to suggest, yeah, get rid of overwhelming, that the main reason for the negative trend is due to the insufficient amount of income and students' inexperience with regard to farming. However, it is still possible to turn the tide by making sure opportunities to learn about farming and governments. It's possible to turn the tide by making sure opportunities to. Let's fix this. By making sure opportunities to learn about farming exist, and possible to turn the tide by making sure, by making sure, or you know what? Let's change this by ensuring. So it is possible to turn the tide by ensuring opportunities to learn about farming, and governments subsidies would make sense here to farming industries. There's a little bit of awkwardness. You can see that I'm still struggling with it. I'm trying to correct it. Still doesn't feel totally right. I would like to see what it looks like corrected on paper. So maybe that's something you can do. This does feel a little awkward to me. So this is a really nice essay. There were some minor things. They were primarily related to grammar. And then I think I mentioned a couple of things to you regarding development. So that's something to think about as well. Also, I think I mentioned a couple of things about vocabulary, making sure that you don't repeat words. But I saw a lot of nice vocabulary. I also saw a little bit of going a little overboard. And that's something that a lot of students do, especially when they do have a good vocabulary like you do. It can be very tempting to, show a lot of vocabulary and a range of vocabulary, but sometimes the vocabulary is not accurate or it's not appropriately used. So just be careful with that. Be aware of that. Okay, I was happy with this overall. I think you're on the right path, Hiroki, okay? So why don't we take a look at this one here? I can't say that I love this task that you've selected to give us. It is, it's really simple. And I have seen a lot of simple charts in IELTS. So I have seen this, but not this simple. So I don't feel that a chart like this will accurately show your writing in task one. Okay, but let's take a look at it. You wrote it, so let's see what you wrote. The bar chart shows how many kilometers the coastline. What? No, watch out with your grammar here. So coastline coverage by country. Coastline coverage. So, okay. So Canada has over 90,000 kilometers of coastline. All right. The bar chart shows how many kilometers. This expression is strange. How many kilometers of coastline. How about, I don't want to say exist, that feels a little odd. The bar chart shows how many kilometers of coastline each country, namely Canada, Indonesia, Philippines, and Russia, have. I missed Russia. Oh, no, I didn't. Overall, it is clear that while Russia, Indonesia, and what? Russia, Indonesia, and Russia? No, you mean something else here. Russia, Indonesia, and Canada. Oh, so this was supposed to be Canada. Overall, it is clear that while Canada, Indonesia, and Russia are ranked as not a top three, but the top three countries with the longest coastline, as a top three country which has the long coastline. Now, that grammar is really awkward here. So it would be more appropriate to do what I suggest. Russia, Indonesia, no, Canada, Indonesia, and Russia are ranked as the top three with the longest coastlines. Philippines and Japan are not the least long coastline. Here's where you're running into problem, Hiroki. Your grammar here is awkward. And so this kind of mistake in such a short task like this is not going to help your grammar score for task 1. And as you know, that is going to pull down your overall writing score. All right, so Philippines and Japan, how about had the least coastline? That's all, simple, okay? Let's see, to begin, it can be observed that Canada has the longest coastline coverage of the 5 countries, which is about 100,000 kilometers, while 75,000 kilometers are recorded in Indonesia, ranked as second. Moreover, Russia is covered with a coastline with the length of slightly less than 60,000 kilometers. Okay, I don't love this. It's still a little awkward, but it'll pass, which is approximately, the 3/4 S, the figure for Indonesia. All right, I like that. You're extending. That's good. In addition, it is important to note that Philippines, whose coastline is the 4th longest, is measured at, careful. It's as if you're saying that Philippines is 30,000 kilometers. And that's not what you mean. You mean that its coastline is 30,000 kilometers. So make sure that your reference is correct. In addition, it is important to note that the coastline of the Philippines, which is the 4th longest, is measured as 30,000 kilometers, closely followed by Japan's, put an apostrophe S here, at 27,000 kilometers, making it the shortest in the given 5 countries. Okay, so it's fine. Like I said, I didn't love this task. It's really very simple. Your word count was 145. So while you wouldn't be marked down for being under the 150 word minimum, which there is no more, there is no word minimum, you wouldn't be marked down for this. It's still not going to help you get a high band score because it's pretty impossible to get a high band score at under 150 words. So I think you could have done maybe a little more. Again, I'll say it one more time. The task didn't help you. 5 pieces of data. I would have liked you to pick something with at least 10, 12, 15, somewhere around there. It's probably more representative of the kinds of things you'll get. Yeah, so a lot of good things in this set. I see a lot of good elements, but I also do see some room for improvement. I would say of the 2 tasks, your task 1 was weaker. And so I want to invite you to sign up for some more essay corrections so we can see what you're doing on other task 1s and maybe help you improve there. Okay, so see if that's something you'd like to do. Take a look at the different options to work with us, and I hope we can do that. And I hope in doing so we can help you prepare for IELTS. So good luck to you.